Welcome to the last day of summer 2020 makeup week. Thank you for hanging out with me all week. It has been so much fun. So I'm starting off with a green concealer, and it's a color corrector, so it's going to cancel out the redness of my breakouts. Try it if you have a lot of redness in your face. It works really, really well. And because I was able to cancel out the redness, now I can just use a tinted moisturizer all over my face and not need the full coverage of a foundation. And I like to keep my summer looks super duper natural looking on the skin, so this works out perfectly and I love having this option. Next I'm going to move on to concealer, and I'm using a peachy concealer for my under eyes and those areas that is kind of a bluish purplish, so that's going to color correct that. And then I have just a white concealer, which basically just brightens like you would think it does. And you can also mix this in with like a concealer or foundation to like create a custom shade, but I'm just kind of dabbing it in there today. And I'm using a tiny brush for like right around my eyes and in the inner corners and stuff like that for a precise application. And then I'm just using my beauty blender that I used for my tinted moisturizer around the rest of it to blend it in all nice and evenly. And now I'm going to set my face with setting powder, and I'm using two different ones. I'm using one for like my whole entire face, and then I'm using a brightening one just for under my eyes. So first I'm using the Senegence translucid powder, and this one's amazing, but it has a little bit of like a tint to it. So I like to use it just on my face. It gives this super buttery, soft finish. It fills in your pores. It feels like literally so soft. And then I'm using the Kat Von D setting powder, and it's very brightening and has more of a white like tint to it. So I use that under my eyes to keep that brightness. Now I'm using my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I'm just bronzing up the face. I'm actually bronzing up the neck too, because I kind of wanted to give the illusion of having a tan because it's getting to be summer and I have spent exactly 2 minutes out in the sun and giving kind of just the illusion of a tan. And then I decided, you know what, it has been a full week of doing makeup videos and I don't think I've technically contoured this whole entire time, so I grabbed my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette and I'm using that one shade, I don't remember the name of it, to contour, and I'm just focusing that right in the hollows of my cheekbones, and it just gives so much more shape to your face. And now I'm using this bright pink blush in my Too Faced Natural Face palette, and it's the closest thing I had to the picture of Kylie. She had a very bright, like bubblegummy pink kind of a blush, and this is the closest I had, and I thought it worked great. I love this color with my red hair, actually. I think they complement each other really well. So I'm using this on my cheeks, and I'm not trying to be subtle with it. Sometimes I like to be subtle with it because it is so bold, but I'm just putting it on there all nice and bold. And then I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay Naked Illuminated Luminous, I believe is what it's called, highlighter. And I love this highlighter because it's super like subtle and just very like naturally shimmery, but it also has like flecks of like actual glitter in it, which you can dust off if you don't like glitter. I don't like glitter for, you know, not like everyday looks. Like I prefer to save the glitter for, you know, a little more fancy looks, but it's pretty easy to dust them away with a brush. So I'm using a big fluffy brush on my whole face, and then I'm using a fan brush just on some of those spots that I want to be a little bit more precise, like my nose and the apples of my cheeks, and I love it. Now I'm using my Morphe 350 palette, and it doesn't really matter what eyeshadow colors you use for this. I'm just using cool toned browns. So I'm starting with a transition shade that's a cool toned brown, and it's kind of a medium brown, and I'm just dusting this everywhere, and then I'm going to build slightly darker and slightly darker. I ended up using 3 brown shades. Kind of the general shape that I'm going for here is which is what makes the look. I'm doing this foxy-eyed look that everybody's trying to do right now. You basically want to create the illusion that your eyes are kind of slanted, and to do that you're kind of going to draw the outer corners of your eye upwards using the eyeshadow and later a wing. And I think this is one of the most flattering looks on any eye shape. I think any eye shape can make it work, so I definitely recommend that you guys try this out because I thought it looked beautiful. Now I'm finishing it off with taking a matte white shade, and I'm just popping that onto the eyelid, which brightens up the look and kind of gives you that wide-eyed, awake effect, which is something that we all want. And then I'm just blending it out on the corners a little bit with my fluffy brush that I used before. Love this look, and it's super duper simple and easy. And now I'm using that same pink blush on the inner corners. I have never done this before, and I need to try it a couple more times because it kind of felt like it looked like I had like pink eye or something. So I need to figure out how to make it work for me more. But I definitely like how it looks on other people, so I'm going to give it another try and see if I can make it work better for me. So I wasn't sure about that quite yet. Now I'm doing a wing, and apparently it's been a while since I've done a wing because it took me way longer than it normally does. It took me like forever, but I loved the way it came out, and I felt like my wings looked semi-similar, which is always amazing. You know the struggle if you ever do wings. It took me forever, as you can see. But yeah, they turned out pretty good, and I was definitely pleased. Now I'm going in with mascara, and I'm using my Volume Intense Lash Sense, which is the mascara I always use when I want really big lashes. When doing this look, most people would wear falsies that kind of flare on the outside to follow that shape of the wing that we're doing. But even if you're just using mascara, try to create that shape and it'll look great. And now I'm doing my lips, and I'm using 3 different colors because I'm super complicated that way. For the first color, I'm using Fire Opal, which is this gorgeous, like super, super, super light shade that I usually use to like lighten up other shades. So using this for the first shade is going to make the other colors a little bit more true to their actual color since I don't have the darkness of my lips shining through. And this shade is like a very frosted, like metallic kind of a texture. So the other shades being matte are going to have this shade kind of shining through slightly and give it that really pretty pearly kind of a texture. And now I'm using Bella, which is kind of a mauve type shade. Well, obviously you can see it, but it's a mauve type shade, and having that light color underneath is helping the pink shine through a little bit more, which is what I was going for. And it really helps keep the color true to what I was going for Kylie's, because the color that she had, I didn't really have anything similar to that, so I had to kind of mix it up and create it myself. And then for color number 3, I'm using Goddess, which is a very bubblegum-y pink, cool-toned kind of a shade, so I figured that one on top would be perfect. And the color's not exact to what Kylie had, but I wasn't trying to go for exact because I didn't have the exact blush or anything, so I'm just trying to keep it close. And now I'm finishing it off with matte gloss because that's what Kylie was wearing, and so that's what I'm going to wear because that's what I'm going for. And I really, really like the way it turned out. And you can see the way that the Fire Opal's frosted texture is shining through, and it looks really, really good. I actually really like it. I don't think I've ever messed with putting Fire Opal underneath any other colors, so I'm going to definitely do that again. And then, as always, here you can see the final look in front of the really good lighting. What do you think of the pink inner corner trend? I like it, so I'm definitely going to have to try it again. But anyway, here we are already at the end of our makeup week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.